Welcome back to Athletes Unplugged. I'm your host, DeQuell Jackson, and we got a very special show for you this evening. Our next guest joining the show is Stephen Tulloch, a guy I know very well with all of our battles at the top of the tackling charts, and stemming from college all the way to the pros. So, Tulloch, man, appreciate you being here, bro.
A lot of love and respect, man. You know, I admire you, bro. You brought it up, man. We've been tracking each other down since our ACC days, man. Proud of you and your accomplishments.
Man, I appreciate it, bro. And likewise, because we were talking offline a little bit, and I want to tell your story. And I feel like I know you because we've been playing against each other for so long, and we've always gave each other that mutual respect as a linebacker because you played the game the right way. And we walked into the league, you know, in a time where we were considered undersized. And I'll tap into that a little bit later, but I want to start from the moment you put the pads on, from the moment you had that passion that you fell in love with the game of football, and growing up in Florida. And because we know growing up in Florida, football is religion. Yeah. So if you could, in your own words, just kind of take me through what that experience was like for you when you first was introduced to the game of football.
Yeah. Good intro. So 1991, man, is the first year I was 59 pounds. I put on a helmet, 1991, and down in Miami, Florida, Kendall Hammock Warriors. It's kind of where I started. Loved the game. Fell in love with the linebacker, running back from day one. It carried me through high school at Miami Killian High School. You know, obviously, you know, my knock on me coming out of high school to the college was always my height. You know, he's undersized. Right. I mean, you could attest to that. I've heard my whole life, my whole career, right?
Right.
And it's funny because I used to always watch people like London Fletcher and you know, Jesse Tuggle on those guys, you know, Dat Wynn and Zach Thomas as my idols, like guys that were undersized that, you know, were at a high level at the position. And, you know, that's kind of what motivated me. But I did get scholarship offers from a lot of schools, Ohio State, NC State, you know, a lot of ACC schools. But some schools, you know, when they saw me, they withdrew their offer. Miami, when they came to Miami, they saw my size. They took the offer back. Florida, when Zook was there, Coach Red, he took my offer back. I've
never heard of that. I've never heard of that before.
So I didn't pass the eyeball test, but I took my journey to NC State where, you know, it was life-changing for me. You know, I was able to do 3 years of college there. Obviously, you know, to be honest, man, I never really said it, but like, you know, just following you, bro, like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I used to, every week, I check the stat chart to see where you were at.
Yeah, same.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew you were doing 10 plus a game. Like, I knew that was gonna happen, right? So I knew I had to get on it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you were the guy, you know, I always, you know, always had a lot of respect for, but I always wanted to kind of keep up with. You know, me and you always 1 and 2 in the ACC when we played.
No doubt.
So, but yeah, man, that was the journey. And then obviously you were, you know, you got drafted ahead of me in 2006 draft. I think in the second round, I'm corrected. You know, should have been the first round, in my opinion. But
we all should have been first round.
Right. Yeah, I was fourth round, 116. But it was humbling because you know, just the opportunity to get in the lead and to showcase my ability was all I wanted was opportunity. And shortly after, became a starter.
Yeah. So was there any point in your life where, because I know, listen, playing football is tough as it is, and you deal with all the external things that goes on. And as you start when you start playing the game, you get through high school and you go through and you start to see the business side of it. Let me ask you this, because I had someone that was in my corner from the first moment I put on the helmet. It was someone that I could confide in, that was my role model, that kind of can keep me away from the BS that was going on. Did you have that person? Aside from your parents, you have someone within the community who's like, hey man, you know, you got a gift. You need to, you know, someone that was always been with you to kind of see you through this process.
Yeah, I had obviously little league coach and stuff like that. But I think when I got to the lead, you know, my first week in minicamp, rookie minicamp, never forget David Thornton. You know, he was that you know David very well.
Oh yeah, DT.
He took care of me, man. Like, he's a young boy. Let me tell you something. There's a couple ways you go in this league. You can follow XYZ and see, you know, buy the chain and run around and do all that, or you can be a professional pro. You know what I'm saying? So he brought me to Goldsboro, North Carolina, showed me how he ran his foundation, you know, how he was community, you know, man of the year, and I just emulated that. You know, and he laid the foundation for my Walter Payton Man of the Years that I've had in my career. He laid the foundation for my foundation, you know, taking off and being able to help, you know, lives across, you know, Detroit, Tennessee, and Philly. You know, he really, you know, I owe him a lot just to, you know, to teach me how to be a pro and how to conduct myself on and off the field. And, yes sir, no sir, and you know what I'm saying, just kind of.
Well, see, I think that's the difference with you, because a lot of guys we know, once we were veterans in the National Football League, and when we had young guys come up underneath us, right, we would try to, you know, extend our hand, extend our knowledge, and a lot of times, a lot of these young dudes didn't listen. Like, what was, I mean, you say it so nonchalant, but like DT is a great dude. You know, I know DT personally. We had the same agent when I was in Indy.
Right.
You know, he's a player development guy there. But like, you listen, like what was the difference between you and I guess what I'm saying is you had to have the passion for it, to seek it out, and you actually listen. It's no different than a lot of guys we played with who, you know, have financial advisors, have all these different advisors, and you can have them, but if you don't listen, then why are you having them? Right. But what made you? Why were you different in a sense? Because I want to touch on, I know you're a humble guy, and I'm trying to bring it at you because I want the viewers and the listeners to know, like, you played your ass off at the linebacker position, and you had the talent. It was like you had the talent, but you had this like underdog mentality. Mm-hmm. And every time you suited up, every time I saw you play from NC State to Tennessee to Detroit and the 1 year in Philly, like you always played with that passion. Where does that passion come from?
My mom, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, I walk in humility and gratitude, man. I live my life like that every day. Even my business, like, I'm just humble and thankful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? I pinch myself every day just to even have the opportunity to put that jersey on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When everybody told me I couldn't do it, you know what I'm saying? When everybody doubted me, but I believed in myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put the work in. I came here, I left late. You know what I mean? I fought through adversity. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that chip on my shoulder, even to today, like people telling me I can't do something, it's still in me. You know what I'm saying? Because they doubted me. But I had a true mentor, you know, later in my career named Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker who, him and I are great friends. I'm actually going to Atlanta this weekend for his men's conference with Dion and Inky Johnson. But you know, he taught me a lot about just, you know, humility and gratitude, and you know, we became friends, and just you know, walking in faith, man. You know, and just putting your best foot forward and treat people with respect and being a leader. You know, I mean, a leader is not one that says I'm a leader, but just leads by example. And you and I both know, man, one of the greatest feelings is right before the season starts when you're voted captain and you put that C in your chest.
Yeah, it's a big
that's
deal,
one of my biggest accomplishments in my league. Bro.
Yeah, same, man. Yeah, that's a big deal.
You know what I'm saying? To put that C in your chest, you know what I'm saying? So that to me is the ultimate success, man, when your peers, you know, vote you as that 1 of 3 players to represent them. You know what I'm saying? That means you're doing something right. So I never want to let them down, and I just want to come and show up every day to practice, show up every day to work, and lead by example, because I know that, you know, those are the 52 guys depending on me. Yeah,
that's the one jersey I will not give away. The one that has the C on my chest. Like that one is framed up. Like, I get it, man. It's a big deal.
Right.
So you touched on, I want to go back a little bit in terms of, you know, something we spoke about offline before we started recording about when we walked into the league. We were considered undersized.
Right.
And I was barely soaking wet 6 feet. Soaking wet 6 feet with no shoe, like barely to the scale. Right. And the brand of football, the culture of football that we walked into, everyone was saying we were undersized, and we probably got drafted rounds later because of it. Because during those days, this was, you know, probably earlier side of 2000s, late 90s when we're in, you know, high school or what have you. The typical linebacker was 6'2", 6'3", 245, 250 pounds. And for us, we were anomalies. No one really, everyone questioned our durability. Would they last in this physical environment of the National Football League? When I go back and I think about some of the things that I did for my body, and I didn't realize that until probably the midway point of my career.
Right.
Like, when you go back and look at your career, you know, you know, proving people wrong, as you say, and, you know, you talked about some of the college scholarships being pulled away from you when you didn't pass the eyeball test.
Correct. Yeah.
What were some of the things that you can attribute to say, you know what, because of my size, you know, how did you use that to your advantage? Because you played for 11 seasons. No one falls. That doesn't happen by accident. You had to actually put in the time. You played the game above the shoulders. Obviously, from a middle linebacker standpoint, you're the signal caller. You're the guy that everyone runs to if they have a mind, you know, blip or whatever, doing before the snap. So what if you go back is there something that you can attribute to and say, you know what, because I did this and because of my size, I was able to, you know, be successful early on and have a career doing it?
Outworking everybody, studying film. Yeah, I was a film junkie, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I watched so much film.
Yeah.
Just because I knew that the margins for error of being in my position is very slim, right? You know, the final reason, right? The final reason he can't, you know, the final reason. So I think just from a film study perspective, and then, you know, having, you know, mentors, you know, during my career, like Zach Thomas, great friend of mine, who I spoke to on a regular, you know, London Fletcher, I'd call him on a regular, you know, Gary Brackett, you know what I'm saying? These guys who are undersized. Bro, I'm 5'10" and 3/4, bro. You know what I'm saying? I smell 5'11", but I ain't even 5'11", you know what I'm saying? But I got heart, bro, you know what I'm saying? And so, man, I tell you, man, I run through a wall for my teammates, you know what I'm saying? I do anything to show them that I'm about that life. You know, you'll never see me half-ass a play, you know, jog, you know what I'm saying? Like me and you we'd run to that ball. You know what I'm saying? We knew we had a number in our mind. We had to get every game. You know what I'm saying? You know, especially had to be there. So, you know, I say the testament to the guys before me who were undersized, who did at a high level, just following their lead, using them as examples, and just not want to let my teammates down. I think were the biggest things that propelled me to kind of keep that state of mind to play a long time. And as you know, the NFL, the average is 3 years, right? And every year they're trying to find ways to replace you. You know, when you got injuries in this league, you got to play through them. You know what I'm saying? Because you might not get your spot back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I played through a lot of injuries in my career, but I knew I had an opportunity of a lifetime opportunity, and I don't want to let that up.
So Tully, you know, obviously you was extremely productive in the National Football League and in college. Was there any one of many players that you wanted to emulate your game after?
Yeah, I think at the top of my head, 3 guys who I really loved to watch play was Zach Thomas, right? London Fletcher.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and Ray Lewis. I think those guys, from the middle linebacker perspective, they demanded the huddle, they demanded the field, and you had to count for them every play. Whether it's a power or scraping tight, whether it's running on the mill and Tampa 2, they always showed up, and you could let their teammates depend on them, and they led by example. But you know, those guys paved the way for guys like us to have a hope and understand that it doesn't matter how big you are, as long as you can play on a consistent basis and be detailed, play a long time.
Yeah. So, man, I got to ask you this question because we both played a long time, and you started off with, I want to say your defensive coordinator was Schwartz. Am I making that? Jim Schwartz. So in Cleveland, you know, I played with a lot of different coordinators coming in and out of the door, but there was one on the back end of my career where, you know, it allowed me to actually use my strengths. And I was doing something that I never had been able to do before, and that was play behind the line of scrimmage and pressure more and blitz. And I know you know as well as I do, in training camp, when you got to go against the running backs, the one-on-one pass rushing drills, that was my bread and butter. Right. Like for years, I always would tell myself, like, I'm not losing a rep. Like that was my drill. Yeah. And so in Cleveland, you know, I would always say, like, man, you know, why am I, you know, 6.5 yards from the line of scrimmage, and I got to open up and play cover 2, and like you're not playing to my strengths. Like I can run and do all that, but it was like I developed this reputation of just being a tackler, and I couldn't do anything besides that. My question to you is: was there any point in your career where you realized, like, man, I could be doing X, but you know, I just hadn't found the right coordinator, the right scheme to really use my assets to the best of my ability? And the other part of that is, you know, do you have a favorite defensive coordinator that when you played for him, you're like, you know what, this is who I am as a player?
It's funny, man. out of my 11 years in the league, Jim Schwartz was my coach of 9 of them. Right?
Oh, that's right.
Crazy, right? So he drafted me.
That's right.
I was a second. You know, back in the days, it was 2 days worth of draft, right? We had 1st through 3rd, and then 4th through 7th. Schwartz, they were about to draft somebody else. Schwartz went to bat for me on draft day and drafted me in the 4th round. So when I went to Tennessee, I was a special teams player the first year, and then I became a starter my second year, and that was because of Schwartz. I mean, I've always had great D linemen, bro. I've had Albert Hainsworth. You know, I've had Kyle Vanden Bosch. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
I've had linemen in front of me. So I'd always, Albert, man, Albert two gap. He just, he had to be.
And you had him in his prime when he was.
Yeah, had him in his
wanted
prime,
to play.
So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I always made those guys right. They went A, I went B. They went B, I went A. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I knew they were freelance players, and that fit the suit of their style of play. So I was able to make a lot of plays off of them. And Schwartz was one of those guys where we used to have to add, right? And a lot of my sacks came off of adding.
Yeah, same.
So they weren't calling blitzes for me like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we were one-on-one coverage, I knew I had to get to my back as fast as I can.
Right. So
this might be my only opportunity.
So people don't understand. Now we're talking like LB language now. So what he's saying is in man coverage, typically the inside linebacker has coverage over the running back.
Right.
And because you played in a more of a cover two type of scheme, more of a zone scheme, you really didn't get your number called all that often to go blitz. And as a linebacker, we're aggressive people on the field. So we want to play that way. Mm-hmm. And so what add-on means is if a running back blocks, it's a free blitz. We called it in our scheme, we called it hugging your man.
Yeah, hug your man.
You hug your man. So you had to take the space from him and where you are. And if he's in blocking, it's a free blitz. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, and I know it happened to me.
It happened to me too, screen you.
When Ray Rice was at his prime in Baltimore, he knew how I played the game because we played each other twice a year. So he knew I would hug Russ as much as I could. Right. And they hit a screen on me, bro, and he took it for like 70-some yards.
Yeah.
But it was right. Something you got to play. You're playing with fire.
You're playing with fire, but I mean the good plays outweigh the bad. You know what I'm saying? You make more than you lose. The average. But I think Schwartz did a good job with me, man. Knowing my side, knowing my position, knowing where I was at, being with him in Detroit and Tennessee for 4 years, going to Detroit with him for 3 years, and going to Philly. He brought me over to Philly for a year. He knew what fit my scheme and hit that wide nine and I had the two edge rushes and me controlling inside the tackles to be able to man that up. And like you said, we were zone, right? So we were cover three, the quarters, and I mastered the cover two position running between the train tracks. So he knew what to get out of me. He knew my strengths and weaknesses. He knew where to protect me over the top of certain places. Running the seam with three receivers on the field. That safety cheat over that kind of helped me.
Hey, listen.
He knew where I was at. Right. He knew where I was at.
Right.
After about one, he knows where I'm at.
I need some help. Oh man, bro. Anytime that 3x1 set will come up, and we're in any type of quarters coverage,
right?
And I got and they put a faster guy that typically shouldn't be there at the number 3 spot. I'm looking at Mike. I'm like, hey, y'all better leave over here. Right.
Yeah, I'll take a blow, but just protect me over the top.
Right. So obviously, you had a ton of success on the field, but I want to touch on at this point some of the philanthropy work that you've done. And you were a pillar in the community. Again, you were the Walter Payton, a nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, which goes to the player who pretty much exemplifies his work in the community, and the NFL, recognizes that, and that doesn't go. That's a huge award to even be a nominee for, let alone win it. So much respect to you on that. So where does that? I know you talked about your passion coming from your mother, and just you having this mentality to outwork everybody. Some guys don't have the ability to play football. And as much time as it takes to be committed and watch film, take care of your body, and also spend that much time in the community. Can you touch on where did that stem from? Because I know I think I read someplace there's a school some years ago, you built a school in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Is that right? In honor of your mother. Can you touch on just how that philanthropy piece is a huge part of who you are as a person?
Well, I always go back to my mom, right? I grew up in a nursing home. My mom was a private nurse. A lot of my time I spent was in a nursing home while she worked overnight, pushing patients around, taking them upstairs for bingo. Just seeing her commitment to helping people was kind of like the motivation that I had. So early on, from elementary school to high school, just been involved myself in the community, just kind of help out, give people what I can and service, and going to NC State the same way. We had time off, I'd go to different schools or shelters and try to provide food. That's kind of who my mom was, or is. But when I got to the NFL, I know we had the platform, right? We had a platform to be able to reach out to people we could never imagine reaching out to. So I started Stephen Tulloch Foundation right after my rookie year in 2007. to help underprivileged kids and women with breast cancer. Shortly after I started the foundation, just started adopting different schools in Nashville, Brick Church Elementary School, just different schools, turkey drives. I'm really fond on breast cancer, and a good friend of mine in college, his mom passed away, so I wanted to gear something towards breast cancer. And a good friend of mine died from high school, died from cancer as well. So for me, it was important to utilize that platform to be able to reach out and help people along the way. And that transferred to Detroit and started the Operation 55, where we adopted 55 Detroit public schools, providing school materials so the kids can kind of have a better learning opportunity to take the next step in their development. And breast cancer events, and those things. But I think the biggest thing that out of all this that we've done is building a school in Jamaica, which you touched on, our mother's hometown of Westmoreland, Jamaica, and close to Negril. As a kid going to Jamaica, I used to always see these kids in the street. And I was like, my mom, why are these kids in the street? Nobody goes to school. So yeah, Stephen, there's no schools for the kids to go to. Wow. So that stayed in my mind since about the age of 7 years old. And when I had the opportunity to obviously have the means to provide it, pay for it, my foundation helped raise money. We went to Jamaica, we found some land, and we built a school, about 180 kids, named Mercedes B. Tulloch Infant School, which now we're working on our second school now. But it's been a blessing to be able to pay it forward. And number one, made my mom happy. That that her hard work didn't go in vain, that she laid the foundation for me to kind of carry that legacy on and give back and pay it forward to people. And I've been blessed with the opportunity to have so much. And I know it doesn't come from just me, it comes from the man above and from her hard work, on her back to be able to lay the platform for me to have this, to do it. And so I enjoy it. I love giving back. I love helping people. I started my brand, Circle House Coffee, based on giving back and helping people. I just find enjoyment, and God continue to bless me along my journey in life by doing that. And so I just enjoy it, man. I love everybody.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. It's funny when I go back and you think about your time in the NFL and you think about legacy. Like, what do you want your legacy to be? And I followed. You're my guy, man. I'm always going to follow you. I always have. And so let's touch on your Circle House Coffee. Can you talk a little bit about how that concept kind of came about? And are you a big coffee drinker? Like, how did that kind of show its head?
Yeah, so right before I retired, I just started buying buildings and land in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. I was buying 3-story buildings. I was buying land. I was buying single standing buildings. Just because I knew my transition was coming, and I wanted to kind of capitalize. Right. I love commercial real estate, man. I own a good amount of it, but there's one particular building that I'm in now, my first location, man. I bought this building, and I was like, what am I going to do with it, man? I looked around. I was like, man, there's no drive-through coffee shops located in downtown Fort Lauderdale, which is a thriving area. So let me be the first one. So I went to coffee school in Seattle, Washington. It's a school called Seattle Barista Academy to learn.
You say you went to coffee school?
In Seattle, yeah. Went to
That's a coffee school?
Yeah, Seattle Barista.
Never. I'm learning.
Never knew it myself. I Googled it. I found it. I flew out to Seattle.
Wow.
And it changed my life, man. It changed my life. They taught me how to make it. I came back. I hired my teacher to be my consultant. He would fly in town every couple of weeks to help build the brand. Then he became my general manager. We built the brand. Now we have 2 locations, and we're drive-through like Starbucks, but it's Circle House Coffee, giving back one sip at a time. Our mission is to give back to local and global communities one sip at a time. And we've been able to help cancer patients. We've been able to help schools. Went to Cuba, donate a bunch of stuff to Cuba, school material, Jamaica. So we try to tie this brand into giving back, and that's what it's all about. And
that's awesome.
We're thriving.
That's all. Is there anything in the name Circle House? How'd you come up with that?
So when I came up with Circle House, it's a circle of people, right? It's a house. So if you look at my building in both locations, you'll see white, black, just a variety of different people. Typically around the time, I think when I opened up the Circle House Coffee, there was a situation in Philly where there was a black individual that was in the coffee shop that couldn't use the bathroom, and they kicked him out, and they called the police to arrest him. Right. And 9 times out of 10, when you go into coffee shops, it's not really like that. It's predominantly dominated by one culture. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I want to have an environment. It doesn't matter if you're straight, gay, whatever, black, white. It's just love. When you come in this building, it's all about love and one mission. That's giving back and paying for it and helping people. So when I created the brand on GoDaddy.com for like $107, I got the .com name. I wanted to, have a, with a circle. If you look at the shirt here, it's a circle. Yeah. Around there's a cup and there's a raise. The raise symbolizing giving back. We want to give back. This is what it's all about, right? And so that's our mission, our goal, and just having that one place where everybody can get together and kind of, pay it forward to other people.
Oh, that's dope, man. That's a great story. I'm glad I asked that question because you're a linebacker, man. I know how you think. So everything has a meaning. Everything has a purpose. So I want to change gears for a second. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but I have to bring it up. During your time with the Lions, I remember, I don't know if I reached out to you when it happened, but it was a play you made. It was a sack you had on Tim Tebow. I got to bring it up, man. I don't know if you want to touch on it or not, but you had a sack on Tim Tebow, and God willing, you had a great play. And can you walk me through what the hell happened next?
So which one is what? Because there's two of them, right?
There's two of them.
The Tim Tebow is the one where I did the knee, right?
No, the one where you
the one with Aaron Rodgers.
You tore your knee up.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
That was Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, man. Crazy. So you know what, man? I'll tell you exactly what happened. Right?
Out of all the crazy things that happened playing
yeah, crazy. Yeah, so I'll tell you exactly. So leading up to that game, I remember pregame, they're like, I had the Jumbotron. Stephen Tulloch, 159 straight games, hasn't missed a game in his career, right? I'm like, man,
no.
I'm getting all fired. I'm like, okay, cool. And and I play Aaron. We play Aaron twice a year, man. And I don't know if you played Aaron. I'm sure you played him. And Aaron talks that smack.
Yes.
He's like Philip Rivers. They don't talk that smack throughout the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I got him on a hug blitz. It was a single coverage. I think Tracy, one of those guys, stayed in the block, and I got up. And when I jumped, bro, like it was almost like surreal, right? I came down, boom, blew it. You know what I mean? And I tell you, man, I've never missed a game in my career, Little League, high school, college. And man, it was one of the most surreal. I thought I got shot or something, man. Somebody, I fell on something.
But you felt it immediately.
Immediately. I don't know. You tore your ACL before?
I sprained my MCL. Okay. Never tore my ACL.
Man, it's a pain like no other. But for me, man, to be honest with you, the way in which it happened, obviously, you don't anticipate that happening. It was one of those moments of my life, adversity, right? Number one, I jumped up to celebrate. I tore my ACL celebrating. Right now, I'm looking at myself like, damn, obviously the whole world's seeing it, right? It's not the best look, but at the end of the day, I know who I am and how I play the game, and I was gonna bounce back from it. Rehab, play one more year in Detroit. Obviously, went to Philly for that last year, but I think I was off to the best start of my career that year, man.
I know you were killing it.
I was killing it. I ain't gonna lie, I was off to my career, so. And we went to the playoffs that year, but it's on one of those unfortunate situations that I look back now like, man, you know what, I don't know if I'll do it again do it again, but I wouldn't change.
If it was gonna happen regardless.
It was gonna happen regardless. It's just the way in which it did happen.
Yeah.
But just knowing who I am and what I stand for, I just kind of
you bounced back
on that. Just got healthy and got back at it. But as you know, man, when you ever have an injury like that, it's hard to regain that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like you come back, you're still a good player, but you're not the same.
Right. See, I don't know what that. So that's a good point. I've had a sprained MCL, but nothing major in terms of a ACL. ACL is a huge.
Oh, it's huge.
That's big, and for us with the lateral movements, you got to trust your knee. You got to trust your gait.
Right.
And so
you start thinking about it, right? So now you're out there, you're moving, but you're like, damn, I don't want to go out there. You know what I'm saying? You're not just fast twitching. So I was able to get 2 more years and make some good money. Outside lines kept me on full salary, didn't have to pay cut. Sports took care of me. I went to Philly. So I think the longevity piece of that is, how you conduct yourself in the league and how people respect you. We always talk about, and it's a hidden myth in the locker room. I'm trying to steal one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the respect level, the only way you can get to that point is if coaches and the league respect you.
Yeah, you were.
You know what I'm saying? You carry yourself the right way. I know what this guy is. I know what he's on the field. Off the field. He might not be the same player, but he's the added value to the team. He's an asset.
No doubt.
And that's how it was going to Philly.
Yeah, no doubt. So what was it like playing in Detroit, man? Because listen, I think we had similar careers in terms of. You made the playoffs once in Detroit. Is that right?
No, come on now.
No.
You made it twice now. Come on, be cool.
No, man. Listen, only made the playoffs one time in my whole career, bro.
I know who you play for. I know you. I know. Did you win that game?
We got to it was the AFC Championship. That's when the whole Deflategate
thing
came about. Yeah. That was. But that was one hell of a ride, bro. Like making to the playoffs that one year and getting to the AFC Championship game. Crazy. That was the first time. You know, I always get nervous before every game. Like they used to call me Willie B. They used to call me all type of stuff, man, because I would have to throw up if I didn't do it before the game. It's been times I'm in my linebacker stance, bro, and
let it go,
just letting it go. So, but that game was different because I knew it was only one game on. There's only 4 teams left, and only one game was on. So it was like a different type of energy, bro. And I was nervous as hell.
Right.
You know, I was in year 9 at the time, so that nervousness carried over in the game a little bit. It was a crazy feel, man. It's hard to really put it into words, but it's one of those experiences that it was the best year of my career, hands down.
Who'd you play? The Patriots?
We played the Patriots. And they blew us out. I mean, you know, that whole ball being underdeflated, it wouldn't matter. We got our ass whipped, bro. They whooped our ass. The lineman was scoring touchdowns.
I saw that, big boy.
And that was my fault. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to know? Because so after that game, they changed the rule because before it was once you checked in as a extra old lineman,
right?
At the time, you had to stay in that one alignment. You couldn't switch and do all this other stuff. But after that game, well, I'm sorry. You have to report every time you're in after that. Right. So they reported one play. They did it off, you know, he lined up normally. And then the next play, he didn't report. So as a signal call, you know.
You're not counting for him.
Yeah, the ref will say, hey, you know, 52, 75 is eligible. But the second play, they never said anything. And I had never experienced that before. Even the coaches was confused. Right. We had a set where I'm like, I'm like, what the?
Right.
They don't have enough. Like, what?
Yeah.
Bro, it was on me, bro. But they end up making a rule like every time you report, they gotta let you know. They gotta let defense know. Yeah. But so what was it like in Detroit, man? You got it, because listen, I dealt with it in Cleveland. It was rough. It taught me a lot about why I played the game and my love for the game. Because every year, I don't know if you felt the same way. Every year, I always thought it was going to be the year we get over the hump. Regardless of, you know, we won 3 games or 4 games or 6 games. It didn't matter. Every year I thought I could be the difference. I thought my side of the ball could be the difference. But, you know, it wore on me. And when it was time for me to leave, I tell people it was a blessing. They did me a favor because I could still play at a high level.
Right.
And another year or so, man, I'm glad I was going before I did. You know what I mean? Another year or so of that and understanding how the business worked. We weren't, you know, going after the top free agents. We were selling out 8 games a year. So the owner at the time was, you know, he was filling his quota. So I was starting to feel like, man, we're not in the business of winning games. We're in the business of like stockpiling draft picks and making money. So when I got out, they did me a fucking favor. Oh, right. They did me a favor.
Right.
You know, how'd you feel about your time in Detroit?
Man, to be honest with you, my time in Detroit was good, bro. I think leading up to getting to Detroit in 2011, they hadn't been to the playoffs since 1991 when Barry was there. So we got to the playoffs in 2011. Towards, you know, obviously right after the lockout, we came in, but we always had a foundation. We had a quarterback in Stafford. You know, we had Megatron. Right. You know what I'm saying? We had Pettigrew. We had some good tight ends. We had some good pieces at running back. And our defense was always pretty solid for the most part.
Right. Did you play with Big Baby? Did you play with Baby?
No, Big Baby had just left. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew you were out there in Cleveland with him, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Big Baby just left.
He was probably the best out of all the D-line, and you played with a lot more star-studded D-linemen than I have. But like Big Baby to me was probably the most athletic dude, hands down, pound for pound. Right. I used to hoop with him, bro. He could dunk. You know, he could damn near do a windmill. Yeah. Yes, bro. Best athlete I ever seen. On the jug machine with the receivers, one-handed.
Easy.
Snatch them. But
I play with C-Dub too.
Oh man.
Oh, C-Dub an animal now.
Oh my goodness.
That's my guy.
Straight Gould, bro.
Gould, that's my. It was C-Dub and Ndamukong Suh at a free state. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I was good. I'm behind that.
Wow.
You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
man. No, I felt the difference playing behind them two dudes. Once
Yeah.
Big Baby and Dub came into play,
you knew you had a chance.
Yeah.
You knew
yeah.
you knew you could play your game. You know what I'm saying? And if you didn't play your game, they gonna call you out on it. Like, bro, where you at?
No doubt. No doubt, bro.
No doubt.
No doubt.
You're gonna hold you accountable.
And it goes to show like how much they knew the game. You know what I mean? Like I love that, bro. Like I used to challenge other D linemen. I was like, hey man, you know, this is what I'm thinking. If you get reach, I'm gonna take your responsibility.
Right,
don't jump up. It's very simple once you figure it out.
Right. Don't pop back. Commit to it. I'm gonna make you right. I'll make you right.
Yes, and a lot of D linemen didn't understand that simple concept. In the moment, they just forget about what I said and how we play, and just end up having two guys out of place and out of gap.
As you play the position, you build a rapport with your tackles, right? You know how they play, their style of play. They know how you play. If they get overreached, they know that you can feel it. They counting on you, like, bro, I let you down, but I know you got me. So we had each other's back. You know what I'm saying? We never two gap. We just stayed in it and we played off each other. I think that's the biggest thing for my career in Detroit is, I had a rapport with, Ndamukong and Nick Fairley and those guys and C-Dub, just to be able to play off of them well. But my time in Detroit was great, man. We were able to make the playoffs. We're always in the running. Obviously, that team in Wisconsin was always a problem, right? Green Bay was always the top dog, right? They were like the little brother. They were like the big guys. So getting past them was always hard. But I think, we made the playoffs 2 years out of my 5 years there. We had one of the best runs Detroit has had in many years to that time. But obviously now, things have kind of went backwards. Coach Caldwell, one of the greatest coaches I've ever played with. I don't know if you had a chance to play with him at all. But
I've met him before.
Unbelievable person, a man of God, a man of character and wisdom who took over after Schwartz left, who propelled us to another playoff run. But, we had a great time. The staff is amazing. The city's amazing. The fans, as diehard fans for 20, 30 years, as Cleveland is as well. Doesn't matter what the record is, every year the tickets going to sell out because they love and believe in their team.
Right,
so,
right.
A great fan base from that perspective.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever. I think I may have been injured. I don't know if I played in Detroit. Maybe for a preseason game.
Okay.
But I don't remember. There's two stadiums, or one stadium that I never played in. I don't know if you played in. It was in Seattle.
Oh man,
I was injured. No, I was injured at the time, man. I was injured, and that's the one place I feel like I played pretty much at all the nostalgic, stadiums around the league.
All of them,
but that's one that, man, you hear about like
the
crowd noise, and the way it's kind of, the stadium is. But I never had a chance. Yeah, never had a chance to play.
That stadium reminds me of Clemson. You know how Clemson, Death Valley. Everybody's on top of you.
Right.
It's kind of the same way. It's deafening. It's definite.
So do you still, speaking of college, do you still keep in touch with, or not keep in touch, but you still follow what NC State has been doing lately? Because I have no idea.
I do. I don't know about Maryland, what you guys got going on over there.
Hey, listen, we're in the rebuilding phase, bro. We're in the rebuilding phase.
You've been rebuilding since you left.
Hey, that's fine. I'm gonna stay with it. I'm gonna stay with it, bro.
The best years when you, Vern, the boys we're out there, lights
Same
out.
for y'all, man. Same for y'all. I remember, I don't know if you remember this game, but we were playing it down in North Carolina, down at y'all home stadium.
Yeah.
And I think it was a battle for the ACC at the time. And we lost. So who was I think T.A. McClendon.
Yeah, it was a November game. It was a November game. I remember.
Yeah. And all y'all had to do was not fumble and turn the ball over.
Yeah. And
literally every play we were saying, hey, strip the ball. And we got a strip. And, I remember that play like it was yesterday, bro. But I remember we ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
And we had to run off the field because
I remember
the fans was throwing God knows what, bro. And I remember running off the field. And to that day, I had never been in a situation like that ever before in my life.
Yeah, I remember you guys ran out the field, and it was a home game for us in November. And we beat you guys. We went in. We were in, and we lost. We didn't make it that game. Yeah, I remember that game.
That was one of the highlights, man. Man, you played with a lot of man. I'm looking at.
Man, I played with a lot of guys. You mean
Mario Williams, Manny Lawson,
Phillip Rivers, Phillip Cottrey. All those guys, man. We had a real good team. I've been blessed and fortunate enough, and as you know, man, the relationships that we built throughout the course of our career is amazing. The guys we grew up playing Madden with, you know what I'm saying? Randy Moss is my guy. You know what I'm saying? I used to wear Randy Moss to school. You know what I'm saying? I just pick the phone up and talk smack with him. You know, there's people that throughout the course of our lives, man, that we grew up idolizing, now we become friends. And I think that's what's so special about the brotherhood of this league and this organization that we've been a part of and been fortunate to play with is the relationships we've been able to encounter and to hold our name true and never burn bridges and to have the respect of our peers. I think is the ultimate respect and sign of goodwill and good fortune. And I'm just so thankful to even have a relationship with you and everybody else, I've had an opportunity to have throughout the course of my career. And life beyond football, we're still love and still a brotherhood that we can always contact each other, text each other, whatever you need, and there's love. So I want to touch on this, man. This is the little line back, the book that I wrote, talking about, basically us, right? The story of determination. Being told we couldn't do it. If people tell you in life you're too small, you can't do certain things, man, believe in yourself. That's all that matters, man. Be your biggest fan, your biggest critic, and don't let anybody tell you can't do nothing. As long as you put your mind to it, you can envision it, anything is possible. So this is for us, man. This is for us.
Okay. And what can I purchase
I'm gonna send one to you, to your son.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you tell what can we you text
me. I want to send it to you on love.
Okay.
Because, obviously, but I want to write something in there just for you and your son. But it's a good book. You get it online on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes and Noble, different stores. They sell them. But I want to send that to you, man, because this is something
man. That's dope. Oh, I'm here, man. I'm one of your biggest supporters, bro, from afar, and I need to, let you know that more often, man. I need to let a lot of people know that more often. Yeah. So let me ask you, speaking of relationships and friendships and cultivating that, those cultivating those relationships from, being in a position of playing in the NFL. How did the Eric Thomas relationship kind of evolve? How did you guys meet?
Oh man, so I was in Nashville, 2007, and he just came out with a skit. You got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. And I used to watch it every day before every game, and I would always start shedding tears because I wanted to succeed so bad.
Right.
And so I found out his name. I went on to Facebook and I sent him a message. I still save it to this day. I say, E.T., man, I saw that you had, this little podcast. They would love you come speak to my school, Brick Church Elementary School. Mm-hmm. He messaged me back. Hey, look, man, I'd love to be there. I can't be there, but send me your address. I'm gonna send you a package. So he sent me a package to give to the kids. He said, "You ever in Detroit, man? I can do for you. Let me know." So when I went to Detroit as a free agent, I told Schwartz. I said, "Schwartz is a guy named Eric Thomas. I'd love to have him come speak to the team." Coach Schwartz said, "Absolutely." So I had ET come in. We spoke to the team. He got us all fired up, and we became like this. I tell you, man, a guy who has changed my life. I FaceTime him right now. He'll answer the phone. And
does he really breathe that? So for people who don't know, Eric Thomas ET is a motivational speaker, but he's not your traditional motivational speaker. He tells you the truth. He's honest, and he puts you on the spot, and he makes you think about, hell, am I working hard enough to achieve this goal that I put in front of me? So I've paid attention to his work for many, many years, man.
Oh man,
and
he's a vital part of my life, man. He's a cornerstone to be. I'm going to his conference, this Friday for the men's conference to be a better man. Like he's helped develop me long beyond the game of football to be a better person, to be able to kind of hold myself accountable in many areas. And he's that guy. I love him to death, man. I tell him all the time, man. You're well renowned, but you and I have the relationship. Why me? He said, man, it's just you have it. You know what I'm saying? You're a good person. You carry yourself the right way. And you add value, and we talk about value added, right? It's not about what you can do for somebody, but how do you elevate that person? How do you bring people to the next level? And that's kind of what he does for me, and I do for him. So I'm just thankful to have the relationship with him.
Damn, that's dope, man. I mean, listen, I can only imagine if he's anything like some of the videos I've seen of him talking to, a group of high school kids or college kids or a bunch of adults and business people. I mean, that sounds like a blessing. That is a blessing. So any new projects you're working on? I know you talked about you're thinking about opening another Circle House Coffee. Any new projects you could talk about?
I think for me right now, man, it's about just on a financial tip, it's just about residual income at this point, right? It's just finding ways to have passive, right? Creating passive opportunities. I think that's kind of where I'm at in my career, in my life. Now, I've played ball for many years. I've kind of kickstarted my business, which is cool. But now it's just about creative passive income. I think by doing that, it allows you to free your time up. Like you have your wife and your kids, you have your podcast, you can do certain things. You're not managing certain things, right? So it's creating those opportunities now for myself and putting things in place. And it's about hitting singles and doubles, not grand slams, right? Just you build here, and it's a pie, and it all works out together. And so that's kind of where I'm at as I transition to starting my family here soon and doing what I got to do for my life. And But I love real estate, man. I don't know if you're involved in it, but
I dabble here and there, but I'm definitely going to hit you up, man, because I'm a part of this fund that we invest in anywhere from startups to late stage companies, and that's cool. But again, I have a itch for the real estate game, and one of my former college teammates, Josh Wilson, he played in the league for a bit of time, but when he retired, well before we did, his family, he's in business with his family, where they have a real estate company here in the DMV area. And he literally sent me a deck yesterday, and I hadn't gone through it yet about, he's in Southeast DC. And if you're from this area, that Northwest is like, where it's more expensive. DC in general is pretty expensive, but Southeast is where it's like up and coming. They're gentrifying a lot of those areas, but there's a lot of, once you start diving into it, there's a lot of opportunities for Black and brown folks, different perks to invest back into the community. So that's something that I've definitely had an itch for.
So I will say that, man, like we're in our mid-30s, man. And yeah, you are right. Those areas, CRA, they give money and grants to just be in those areas. But being that we're so young, my man, I think it's best that we start buying stuff now, right? Because we have time to enjoy that. Going those areas that are not as expensive are great areas. That places that are ran down, those are great areas to be able to capture that equity, to be able to have that sweat equity. You buy in now, and as time grows up, you're passing that on to your little man and your family. You've grown so much equity and accumulated so much rent that you're double dipping on both sides of the pool. You're collecting every month. You're building the equity. So I think now is the time, especially for our age, to be able to accumulate those properties, build that wealth. That's how wealth is developed. It's developed through debt and real estate, right? And so if you know how to balance that debt and balance your portfolio, you're basically buying stuff for free. You know what I'm saying? It's just understanding and having those conversations, I think, is important, even for athletes and us, to be able to have those sit down conversations to talk about leveraging and diversification and capitalizing grants and different things that are there, to have those conversations and dialogue. I think because we have a business degree in football, and football has taught us how to handle structure, discipline, accountability. It's just not understanding the financial literacy part of it to kind of keep elevating and developing.
How did you educate yourself? Did you have another mentor in that area? I know we've been coached all of our life, so I figure you have a coach outside of football.
Yeah, so during my career, I used to go to the NFL entrepreneurship program in the offseason. So I went to Stanford University in Palo Alto, California. I went to University of Miami, University of Michigan, Stephen Ross School of Business. So I knew DT put me onto that. David Thornton. He said, young boy, in the offseason, man, educate yourself. You didn't graduate college. You left school early as a junior. You know what I'm saying? Get that financial. It's free. The networking and what you're going to have is crazy. So during the off season, I signed up for LinkedIn and LinkedIn's account. So what I'll do is I'll reach out to all the real estate people in the Detroit area, and I'll send them a message. They know you have this this company or whatever. I'd love to have lunch with you. So I'd invite them to lunch, give them tickets to the game, and create relationships. So now in the off season, I can sit in the office and see how they work the portfolios. They don't need nothing from me, but we have a relationship where they'll teach me the game and be that mentor to me. And so that's kind of how I understood the real estate game. So when I left the game, I was able to kind of go on my own and start doing certain things with obviously with consulting my advisors, but having an understanding of what I'm doing. I never want to get into things where I don't understand. If I don't understand, nobody else does, it's a problem. I want to go, I want to be able to understand if people who've been there before, made the mistakes, can help guide me in the right direction. So having those mentors and people who have created relationships through the business program, the NFL, and through LinkedIn has propelled me to understand the nuances of real estate and how it works and how it's about singles and doubles, not grand slams.
Yeah, I have a buddy. That's a great point. I have a buddy, Mike Adams. I don't know if you know him, Pops. He played in the league. So we've always talked about, forming this fund of, it doesn't have to be former players, but you know how it is. And when you're in the locker rooms and you hear guys talking about whatever interests outside of football may be, we kind of shun it. It's like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Like,
right.
But you'll go invest in someone outside, of your network, quicker than you would the people that you know. Correct. So he's always talked about creating this fund of me, him, and whoever else that has those same interests. And I guess my question to you is, have you been a mentor to someone else that's in that field, that's either a former player or not, or have you done any business with any former players?
Well, some of my great friends, Cliff Averill, I'm proud of him, man. He does a lot of great work out in Chicago and in Seattle, doing a lot of development, a lot of multifamily. He probably has like 80 doors now that he collects on. Tahir Whitehead, man, big fan, young boy, linebacker, man. I played with him, mentored him the same way DT mentored me. I mentored him, and now he's doing great things out in Jersey with his family, and has his own youth center, and understanding how it works, how to be a professional and be a pro. There's a lot of other players that I've worked with. I do a lot of work with the Dolphins. I do a Dolphins business boot camp the last 4 years. So I take about 40 players from the team. They come to Circle House Coffee for a day or two, and I teach them about life as a player, transitioning, talking about checks and balances, how to start a business, the nuances. So I'm grateful for the Dolphins, man, and Caleb Thornhill to use me as that liaison with the players.
That's great.
Now the player, they come here on the off day, and we sit in my office. We talk about different things and family and money, and the things that we talk about in the locker room. I can talk about it with them.
Right.
But it's good to create those relationships. We do a lot with the NFL, with the NFL Business Entrepreneurship Program. I'm a guest speaker for them now because I've been through those courses, and I can come back and see how things revolve 360, and I can talk about my experience outside of that, what it's done for me. But I'm constantly trying to find ways to educate myself, man. I think it's important, reading books and getting understanding of, we don't have all the answers, but, podcasts and just trying to constantly develop our mind because we're first generation. I'm first generation, right? Nobody in my family has ever had the opportunity that I've had to be, you know what I'm saying? Or you had. So now we got to start teaching and creating a new normal. Like your son, you're going to teach him a new way of living and thinking and checks and balances and how to carry it, how to handle it. So it's on us to do that. We have the gift to do that. Now we got to pay it forward.
Man, that's great, man. I think that's a good place to end this, man. I want to thank you for your time and your perspective. Tully, man, I follow you like crazy from afar, and we definitely got to get together next time I come out to Florida.
One of these ski trips, man. Get on one of these ski trips.
Yeah. Have you ever tried it?
I ski all the time. I'm in Aspen. Yeah. I'm in Vail. I'm in Breckenridge. I'm out there now.
Okay. Do you snowboard or ski?
Salt Lake in December. What's that?
Do you snowboard or ski?
I ski, but I want to get into snowboarding.
Yeah, got it, man. I'll tell you this quick one, then I'm gonna let you go. So the first time I tried snowboarding, bro, it was an epic disaster, bro. I bruised my tailbone. I was out in Lake Tahoe for a week, and it wasn't a lot of snow. It was like an ice skating rink, and that's the worst conditions, to do anything, ski or snowboard. Man, the first day I had lessons, bruised my tailbone. For about 2 months after that, bro, I couldn't sit down normally, bro.
No,
it was rough. It was rough, but being competitive, I cannot let this beat me. So I would show up every year after that, and now I'm good. Now I'm good on the board.
You a snowboarder or a skier?
Yeah, snowboard.
Are you doing blues, blacks? What are you running at?
Yeah. So I was with Vontae.
Yeah, Vontae goes
probably a few months ago. The last weekend in Aspen, it was April sometime, and that was the first time I'd done a double black. I can do the blacks, and the double black was real. That was real, bro. Was real. Double black. Listen, I was I had a good day. It was one of the last day before I was leaving. I'm like, man, I've done blacks and I can do blues and I can get off the chairlift and I'm good for the most part. But the double blacks in Aspen, this joint. Let me put it like this. It curved, right? And you couldn't see where it curved because it was so damn steep.
Yeah.
And it was so hard because it was it wasn't groomed. Right. So it was like a mogul doing moguls.
Yeah.
So, those moguls, they take a lot out you. So halfway down, we had to stop and take a break. It was like, man, we got to take a break because if this is like this the whole way down, this is going to be
were you about 10,000 feet?
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 10, 11, whatever Aspen's deal is. But I got through it, man. I got through it. I didn't fall, but it was challenging. But that's something you got to get up for. But again, man, I thank you for your time and
a lot of love,
and much respect to you, man.
Yeah,
we got to get together soon, man. We definitely got to. You know, I want to pick your brain about some real estate, you know, opportunities and see if my buddy Josh. I definitely want to connect you guys because he's in the real estate out here. He's sitting on quite amount of property here. So hey, man,
we got to find a way to put something together for some of the players, man, to get together and just have a meetup.
No doubt. Or even you see these tight ends doing like some
tight
sort of school,
tight
end U. I mean, I don't see anyone doing that for the LBs, man. We don't get a lot of credit.
We can start that. We can start it. Get London. We get a couple of guys.
Yeah.
We meet up somewhere a little weekend and just put our heads together.
Yep. And everyone brings their talents, and you know, you got the business, your business savvy. You got, you know, you kickstarted that. We can all bring our own little tools to the table. So again, man, I'm gonna get you out of here for real this time, man.
Appreciate
much love,
man.
man.
Good seeing you, bro.
Yeah, good seeing you, bro.